Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. I am trying my very, very best not to look as angry as I am because I just watched the highlights from Game 5 and it was very difficult to sit through that. I feel bad for all of Laker Nation who actually sat there and sat through the entire game. It was one of the worst highlight reels that I've ever sat through. When I made the previous video, I hadn't obviously watched any highlights. All I was doing was looking at the score. So I got on Kuzma. He actually didn't play bad. I said that I believed in KCP. He didn't score at all. So I just want to come here and say that game, even in looking at the score, I learned a lesson tonight. Sometimes the score just doesn't tell the story. You need to see what happened. I'll tell you what happened tonight. First of all, the effort was not there. I think the team itself, the guys, were deflated. And maybe even the coaching staff were deflated by AD's injury. And that's what I saw. It was a team that was frustrated, defeated, deflated, and ultimately probably ready to go home. Because they don't believe they can beat the Nets. That's what this is really about, in my opinion. Without AD, without a healthy team, without this team playing better, obviously. And look, maybe that's my own perception. I don't want to project that on the players, but that's how I perceive it. It's like, we're not beating the Nets. If we can't get healthy, we're not beating them, so why not just end this early and get some rest? Because we haven't had any in about 2 years, and we've had a hell of a 2 years run. So it's time for guys to get some rest and a real off season. And I respect it. If that's what they're doing, if they're mailing it in, I get it. But the effort tonight was horrible. It was horrible. But I'll tell you the truth. That wasn't necessarily the killer. What killed the Lakers tonight was their game plan. The players they chose to put on the floor. What they were running. Defensively, especially. Andre Drummond is a liability when you're going up against a team that shoots threes. You cannot have him on the floor, bro. You set Trez, but you should have set Drummond. Because even though he was able to help on the rebounds and stuff like that, he has slow legs. He's not in the type of conditioning shape that he needs to be in to be the person that we need him to be. He's just not in that kind of shape, man. That's the problem. He's barely getting off the floor. He's not running very fast, and when it's time to close out on three-point shots, he is slow as anybody on our team. He's slower than Mark. So at this point, I'm like, man, I do not want to bring Drummond back. I respect the player. I know he can continue to do what he did. If you give him an opportunity to, he can still have games where he puts up 20-20 and 30-30 and crazy stuff. I think he can still do that. But I don't want him to do it in our uniform. I'm cool, bro. I have seen enough. That player just doesn't fit with LeBron James like you need him to. He's a clogger of space, and he hardly gets off the ground. I can't stress it enough. I mean, homeboy plays so far under the rim. It's like, bro, like I don't need that type of player. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm cool. So that's what I'll say. I respectfully am walking away from Andre Drummond as a fan in terms of wanting him on the team. Nope, we got to move on there. Just keeping it real. Dennis Schroder has had a tough night, man. 0 for 9, bro, in a contract year, in a playoff game 5. I feel terrible for that man because he turned down an $84 million contract, I think, for maybe multiple years. I don't know. I don't want to speculate because I'm not certain. That's a good contract, Dennis, and they're not going to give that offer to you. You may get it. You may get the money you want from somewhere, but it probably won't be from a team where you can win. Not to say much about us because we're getting bounced in the first round, but we understand that that's nuanced. The reality is he's going to be on a bad team next year or potentially not so good team next year if he wants the type of money he's trying to get. And there's no guarantee that it'll even be on the table for him based on the performance he had tonight. It is absolutely and utterly imperative that he plays better in Game 6, period. For his own personal career. He needs to bounce back, and he needs to bounce back strong right now. because this ain't got nothing to do with the Lakers. To be completely honest, this has to do with Dennis Schroder. He's trying to get something that people don't even think he deserves. He's sitting up here asking for $100 million. Nobody thinks you should have that, bro. But if you were to show up tonight in a big way and showed up in Game 6 in a big way, a la on some Ron Artest stuff, and be the reason we won those games, you could probably get that money. So I feel, rather than being angry at Dennis Schroder, I feel devastated for Dennis Schroder. I feel concerned more so. It's like, I don't know what kind of money you're going to get, bro. Not when it matters most. And you are very consistent, very crafty, very, very efficient. But it came down to playoff time, and you couldn't get a single bucket. In a Laker uniform at that. Next to LeBron James, bro, that's going to cost you. That's going to cost you. It is what it is, man. So this is a bad night for Dennis Schroder. Very bad night. Not just on the basketball court, but potentially off of it. Especially if he had dreams of trying to stay here. Because I don't think the Lakers going to lowball him, man. That's happening. He'll be lucky to get 60. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. As I said, KCP didn't score, but I know he's not healthy. I know that. KCP is not 100%, so he probably shouldn't even been out there either, to be completely honest. But we had Wesley Matthews out there. He had some shots. It was nice to see, but defensively, guys, is just not really there tonight. And, it just shows how much AD really brings to the table defensively. He is our entire defense. I mean, he is the reason why we're the best defense in the league. When you remove him, we're one of the worst defenses in the league. It's literally that simple. With respects to people like Alex Caruso and KCP and people who play defense on his team who make it work, it doesn't translate if AD ain't out there. So, that was bad. But, for me, what I also took away from it, honestly, was just Frank Vogel got in the way. Now, as I said, the coaching staff was probably really frustrated and really tired, trying to constantly make adjustments to try to figure out what'll work without AD, with AD. It's been a lot for the team over the last 2 months. It's been a lot, and I get it. And trying to get on the road, get on a plane, you know what I mean? After a tough night, you get on a plane, you go to Phoenix, you're going up against a team that's strong. Chris Paul's back. It's a lot. I get it. You're trying to game plan. You got unhappy players. The morale's not that high. I get it. But whatever is going on, you have to game plan better than what Frank Vogel and the guys did tonight. You needed energy and you needed youthful legs. You're going up against a young team, undermanned, and you're putting your oldest players on the floor, bro. I understand it's the playoffs, you want experience. I get that, but that does not work. It's not about experience in this situation. It's about energy. It's about energy. That's why I suggested that we use Montrezl Harrell early and often in this game to catch Phoenix off guard, because we haven't been playing them and they know it. So they wouldn't have game planned for him. We could have used him tonight and we didn't even play him. We put him out there when the game was already out of hand. I couldn't have been more angry also watching THT hitting 3-point shots in the fourth quarter when the game was completely out of hand, knowing that he hadn't played very much in the first half. It's like the guys who were ready to go didn't play. The guys who weren't ready to go were out there all night long. That's what happened. And as a result, the Los Angeles Lakers lost Game 5 in phenomenally horrible fashion. And I say, I don't know what Frank Vogel got going on with Trez, but somebody suggested, and they were joking, they said, Trez probably slept with this man's wife or something. It's funny, but I've seen stuff like this before. And I'm looking away from the camera because I'm thinking back on things like that I saw and remember from teams past. This does feel like something else is going on, man. This I don't know what's going on, but something is off. Montrezl Harrell got in the game when we were down by 30. What? Like, what? I know that he's a guy that you can't trust on the defensive end. He's undersized. But do not forget who this man is. He's the 6th man of the year last year. I mean, we're not talking about somebody who's inadequate or somebody who can't dominate a basketball floor. We know who he is. Stephen A. Smith once said he was the Dennis Rodman of this era. I mean, what was not exaggerating. The dude was rebounding that crazy. He was dunking that crazy. For the Los Angeles Clippers, he's not injured. He has an incredible motor, and we did not use him. That's one of the biggest failures of Frank Vogel's career, is how he's handled Montrezl Harrell in these playoffs. It's horrible. It's just absolutely, utterly horrible. And somebody needs to acknowledge that he was the problem tonight, honestly. Overall, because he chose to go slow and old when we needed youthfulness and energy. Simple as that. I mean, deeper than that. And I tell you, when you see a guy struggling as bad as Dennis Schroder was struggling, you sit him. You don't leave him out there. You see Andre Drummond struggling out there. They shooting threes all over the place. He's barely moving his legs. You sit him. You adjust to what is happening to you. You call timeouts. You make sure it doesn't get out of hand. We went on a long stretch without scoring in the second quarter. How the hell did that even happen? Call your timeouts. It's just certain things that a coach needs to understand. And I said it. We miss Rondo. That's what's going on here. That's who's missing here. Besides Dwight Howard and what he brings physically, obviously. We need that. Because Drummond ain't that. But more so, we need Rondo. Because Rondo would have been able to pick people's mistakes out as they were game planning it and say, no, that's not what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Try this, try that. That's what he brought to the table, aside from what he brought to the table physically. And we don't have it. The team, the morale is down. The IQ is not where it needs to be. And as a result, we looked horrible. So, with that being said, hey, Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, somehow over the last year or so, we've allowed some players to get on this team that shouldn't be here. We had a really, really good thing going last year with our roster. It was phenomenal. We landed some pieces this year that maybe kind of got outside of what it is that we were doing, but we still allowed ourselves to bring those pieces in because, hey, manna from heaven drops. You don't complain. You take it. You make it work. But we got to now realize that some of that manna can be now traded for something that fits a little better for us. So I think it's time for the Lakers to start doing some wheeling and dealing. Some of these old guys that are ready to go, we can send them on their way. Because getting bounced in the first round, or even if we don't get bounced in the first round, the way Game 5 went tonight, nah, I tell you right now, it doesn't matter if we lose this round or not. We ain't winning no championship with them players out there. Not them guys that was out there tonight, they ain't winning no championship. I'm just telling y'all that right now. I've watched a lot of basketball in my life. This ain't no championship team, bro. They're not. So, with that being said, congratulations to the Phoenix Suns on a fantastic win. You took advantage of a hobbled Laker team that just did not have it tonight for a plethora of reasons. And you guys deserved to win because you outplayed those guys. You ran y'all game plan and y'all did it the right way. And I'm actually happy to see them succeed. Despite our failure, separate of that, I'm happy to see them succeed. They're not one of them teams I'm upset at all. So with that being said, the Lakers going to have to figure some things out. It's a colossal failure. There's still a game to play. We may get lucky and win it. We're at home. Hey, it's great. But there's no question that without Anthony Davis, this is a better team we're facing. We're facing a better team. And the way that we are playing, guys are ready to go home. They don't even look like they want to play. So, Suns in 6. It is what it is. I don't think we win that next game. I'll be happy if I'm wrong, but that team is done. I've seen teams get their heads kicked in. We got our head kicked in tonight. You don't get up from that. 9 out of 10 teams do not get up from that. But we do have LeBron James, so that is the hope. But the way he was playing tonight, it was a reflection. The whole team was a reflection of how he's approached this season, to be completely honest with you. With his eyes rolling. Like, I don't want to be here. I'm not happy about this. He set the tone to a degree for how the team came out tonight. Because he's He's been upset. He's been vocal about how he's felt about the playoff formatting, how he's felt about the team formatting, how he's felt about not getting an all-star team break. He's been very vocal about his displeasure with playing the game as it was constructed by the schedule makers. And that, from your leader, can be a problem when it comes to circumstances like these. In your Game 5 situation, now you're thinking about other things because your leader's on some, like, I don't want to be here. So they're going to be like, well, if he don't want to be here, these are the times when those things that LeBron said starts playing back in your head. You're like, yeah, man, shoot, we getting our butts kicked, 80 down. Man, let's just get up out of here, man. I'm trying to get to Aruba. As opposed to, we're here to play basketball. We're here for a championship. We're here for, like, if LeBron James is saying that all year long, I don't care how we play basketball. I don't care if it's all-star break. I don't need no rest. We just going for it. The focus is singular. It's all about the championship. If that was his tone from the start of the season, consistently throughout the season, regardless of the static, I think he would get a different approach from the players that he had tonight. Honestly, I really believe that. Little things like that, and I think he understands that too. Little subtlety things like that, they really do matter as a team approaches when games matter, those moments. Tone is so important. So I think he set the wrong tone, and I think he knows it. I don't think he was wrong about being vocal. I just think that this is the sacrifice for being vocal in that regard. The team, they're not going to have that I must. I must do this for LeBron. I must. They're not going to have that. It's more so we're following him, and this is some bull crap, and, we're going to get our rest. That's the tone. You see what I'm saying? And that's not a champion. That's not a winning tone. So, anyway, that's how I see it. What else? Hey, man, look. If we do lose Game 6, Frank Vogel's out of here. If we're talking extension, no, we're not talking about extensions no more. And I know that he won his championship. I get it. So him being fired could be extended by maybe half a season. But I'm telling you, the decision will be made in Game 6. If he loses that game, the decision will be made to fire him. Now, when they decide to do so, as I said, it could be at the offseason. It probably could give him the half a season to see what happens with the team. But I promise you, at the moment of a littlest static of next season, he's out of here. Why? Because of Game 5. Remember I told you this. Vogel got himself fired tonight if we lose Game 6. And you can book that. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. My name is BDF44. I think the Lakers are out of here, man. It is what it is. We won last year. Peace.